Yeah, what is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of From My Experience podcast. I'm your host, Rob, and I want to thank all of you, our listeners, our followers, our subscribers, those of you who are sharing, liking, and commenting. Thank you so very much. You already know FME underscore podcast on Instagram. From My Experience podcast on Facebook. We have a group and we have a page. So please like the page. Please join the group and join in the conversations. You can follow me personally, complete, spelled with a K, underscore vision. And I just want to thank y'all. The growth is real. The support is real. And we are feeling the positive vibes. But I'm not alone today. I have the co-host with the most, who is always vibrating higher. J4, aka Jessica Fountain. I switched it up on it today.
You did. Hello, world. You're here.
How are you?
I'm doing well. No complaints. This has been a really interesting week. I don't know. I'm in a weird. I don't want to say weird space, but an interesting space. Like I'm kind of hyper focused, but I'm really aware that I'm hyper focused, and I'm like trying to balance that with like some intention. I'm just like being really mindful this week.
I got you. I am knocking out some work this week and finalizing some stuff for the podcast. We had a conversation off air. You talked to me about the website. That's some of the stuff that I've been working on that's going to be knocked out. So thank you again for being such a wonderful and supportive co-host. And that is why she's the co-host with the most. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a very personal episode. I'm going to share a bit more about myself and my love life and some of my thoughts and feelings and some of the things that I've been through. And we have the perfect guest for such a conversation. He's been on the show before, and the advice he gave, the gems he dropped were classic, and I'm like, yo, we got to have you back, especially now. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we have the CEO of Xklusive Thoughts, certified life and relationship coach, speaker, and author of the book, Teach Me How to Love. What You Don't Know Will Hurt You. Mr. Troy Spry. Woo!
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Welcome.
Check out that intro.
How
Check
you
out
been?
that intro.
How you
I'm
been, my
good,
brother?
man. I'm good, brother. Jessica, you're a new face. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. Welcome to the show. I've heard a lot of great things about you, so I'm looking forward to the conversation.
All right, let's do it, cause from what I hear, boy, Rob want to talk. So
Right. We have
So-
dialogue today, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So, before we begin, Troy, tell them about your book.
okay, yeah. So I always tell people my book. So if you listen to the title of it, right, it's Teaching Me How to Love While What You Don't Know Will Hurt You, which is a play on the statement. What you don't know won't hurt you, right? That's a play on that statement because I believe that it's what we don't know about relationships and dating that's hurting us the most. Because ultimately, we only see what we were shown growing up, right? So I wanted to give people not a how-to book, but a change your mindset book. And that's what the book is about. So it's designed to help men and women get off that emotional roller coaster. I always say if you're tired of getting the same results over and over and over again, then it's time to get some new information. And that's what the book is for. So whether you're dating or in a relationship or in a marriage, it's got some gems in there.
That is a fact. After the first interview, I bought a copy, and I want to say I bought several others and had them sent to people and told them they need to read it. I'm not a big reader. It's not a good thing. I need to read more. But this book, it literally changed my perspective on dating and relationships, and it's highly reflective because there's I would like to call it, what is it, like a quiz portion at the end where you have to answer some you gotta answer some deep questions. And it's a good indicator for me, it was a good indicator of have you really healed or have you really thought through some of these things, and they all tie back to the chapters in the book, and it was spectacular. It was spectacular. So
I love it, man. Self-reflection is the ultimate goal of the book. So if you don't read it and you're not looking at yourself, then you haven't done a good job.
yeah, I've been doing a lot of that lately. So here comes the personal portion. So those of you who listen to the show regularly know that I was in a relationship, and it ended last year in March. Here's the kicker, right? I want to say it lasted a year. I can't remember at what point, but I want to say probably because it started February 2019 when we made it official. Sometime in that year, definitely before, probably August, September, maybe. I can't remember. I bought her the book, and I said, yo, you should read this book, answer the questions, and we're going to sit down and we're going to compare our answers and kind of talk through some things. So I can see, kind of where you're coming from, and you can see where I'm coming from. And man, I used to bother her every now and again because I'm like, it's a quick read too. It's a quick read. You could probably read the book in a day if you really wanted to. But she finally did it, right? And we went over it in February of 2020, which was our anniversary month, right? And we had a very good conversation about it. We got some things off our chest, and it helped me understand her more, and it helped her understand me more. Unfortunately, things ended shortly after. I'm not going to go into details. She was unfaithful. I'll just say that. And she got caught. So I found that funny. But the book, I went back to the book, afterwards. It took some time off healing. So now I'm doing something different. I'm dating now.
Ooh.
And I'm dating differently than I used to date. I used to date one woman at a time. So let me be clear. Dating meaning we going out, we're talking, we're getting to know each other. It's not exclusive on my end, and it's not exclusive on her end. Like if they chose to date other people, I mean, that's something I had to deal with. It didn't really bother me, but I used to focus on one woman at a time. I don't do that anymore. Now I date multiple women, talk to multiple women, and it's a very different experience. And based off of this book and what I read and what I've reflected upon, I need to make sure that I do a better job of looking and paying attention and, trying a variety of things for me to see, okay, where am I now? This is 36-year-old Rob. This ain't 30-year-old Rob. This ain't 33-year-old Rob. Some things have definitely shifted and changed, and this is one of them. So it is right after Valentine's Day. Y'all are hearing this. Some of y'all were sad and lonely like me. I was probably drinking on Valentine's Day. So I kind of went on a rant there, but that's where I'm at now. So I'm starting fresh again. So what are some pointers or tips for people who are starting fresh?
Oh man, that's a loaded question, but we're gonna dig into it. We're gonna dig into it. So if you're starting fresh, right? So when you say starting fresh, I'm assuming you've done the work to heal. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, bruh, listen. So I want to thank you again. Without going on a rant, besides her, I mean, we talked about everything after we broke up, and I got what I needed from her closure wise. And then I talked to my ex before her, because we're still cool. That wasn't a bad breakup or anything. And because back to the digging and reflecting, because I'm like, all right, let me see, let me compare some situations and make sure I'm not crazy. And she gave me some real good insight on me and how I used to be and what she saw versus what I thought I was seeing. So definitely, this has been like a complete overhaul, basically.
Gotcha. So you've done the work. All right. So if you're starting fresh, one thing I love that you said was you're trying to get to know who you are in this season, right? So because you are different, we have seasons of life, right? So the first thing I always tell people to identify is, what are your core values, right? What are the things that you value? And when I say core values, I'm not talking about like, do you have a six pack, right? I'm not talking about does she have a big butt. Those aren't core values. When I talk about core values, it's things like ambition, it's things like integrity, it's things like legacy, like do you value culture? Like, what is it that you value? And those things should be non-negotiable. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So this should be. So I always tell people always got values and standards, right? Until they're met with the eyes of lust,
Whew,
right?
that lust.
Everybody got a standard until he fine or until she fine, right? And she give you butterflies and all. Everybody got values until then. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So core values don't change no matter how lustful or how much chemistry you feel with somebody, right? So that's the first key. Have you identified your core values? The number two, have you identified your deal breakers? Right? Your deal breakers. Now, deal breakers are deal breakers for a reason. Like if you were doing a negotiation with someone and you define deal breaker, you would stop the negotiation, right?
Correct.
So, do you actually know your deal breakers? Because everybody say they do, but they don't.
That's
Right?
a fact.
So,
Well, I'm going to interject here because
yeah, go ahead, Jessica. Go ahead.
I remember we had this conversation before, and it was Rob was like, "I don't like that term."
Yeah.
I don't like the term deal breaker because he didn't believe in it. But I mean, from his point of view and what you meant by that was depending on the person. I think there's always it can waver, but I do think that there's some solid, like you said, things that. And Rob, you brought that up in the show, that particular episode about like if you're a murderer or you're satanic, like no, that's like I can't devil worshiper. I think is what you
Yes.
you use. But like there are these things that I feel like are deal
There's
breakers
some
for
things
me.
that have to be deal breakers.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, for me, integrity is one. Like once my trust is broken with you, like it's a deal breaker. It's hard to rebuild the trust because there's been so many like patterns of trust being broken that at this point I don't even feel like the energy almost like at this point in my life. Probably not, maybe not the best thing, good thing, because I do think people make mistakes, but making a mistake and breaking trust, I think, are different. When I say breaking trust, I mean like in business, stealing is different than showing up for work late.
Yeah.
So I would be more inclined to like, all right, just make sure you try to work on that. Our start time is this versus someone that's stealing from me. There's really that's a non-negotiable for me in business.
Non-negotiable. So I agree with you, and I can understand why Rob said he didn't like the word deal breakers. Most people don't, right? Because it doesn't give them a way out. That's why people don't like the term deal breaker, right? Because once you establish it, now you held accountable to it no matter the scenario. And that's hard to do. Now, there are some things like, for example, you might have some preferences that you can negotiate on, right? Like Jessica, you might like tall guys. Well, maybe you might decide to date a guy that's only 5'6", 5'7". That's a preference that you can negotiate on. But like you said, you're not going to change your preference. You're not going to change your negotiable in terms of honesty. Someone's dishonest. You see a pattern of dishonesty. Guess what? You're not going to all of a sudden say, well, you know what? I can kind of deal with that. No, that's a deal breaker for you. So there has to be deal breakers in the scenario. Sorry, Rob, you got to have some stuff that you stand on.
I pulled up my list
stand on.
when you were saying
you
that.
got a list?
I pulled up my reflection. And you're right; these are deal breakers. I can't deal with these things. I can't say what I want to say.
Give us a couple of them.
Drug abuse. No, I can say them all. Drug abuse, disrespect, laziness, bad listening skills, and disorganization.
There you go.
Like I can't. Those are things that literally make me cringe and make my skin crawl, and I can't do it. I can't. I don't have the patience for it anymore.
Okay.
I just can't do it.
So what I would challenge you to do there, though, is take those deal breakers and figure out how they relate to your values. Right.
My values are respect. So disrespect.
Disrespect.
Honesty, loyalty, selflessness, and ambitiousness, or being ambitious.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a word. So
that's good stuff.
Yeah, so disorganization and laziness, so it's kind of, they mirror. It's like they're the opposites. It's like the opposites. Oh, look at you. Oh, damn. I saw what you just did there, Troy. I saw that.
Saw that, right?
Ding dong, the cat is home.
Okay. They should that makes sense.
So let's think about it, Rob. So let's think about it. You got values, right? You got deal breakers. Now you need strategy, right? If
Yes.
you're dating, there has to be strategy to dating.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, and I know
I
people
need
hate
this
it.
part because
Yeah,
I'm very clear. I have a
go
lot
ahead,
of
Jessica.
clarity
Uh-huh. Go
um,
ahead,
on
Jessica.
what I want. I've done my self work. I'm very self aware. I know things that typically are challenging because I've talked to my friends. I've gained the understanding of what the outside world sees me as, what I see myself as, things that I want to attract in my life. I feel like and another thing I think I would go on the record is saying in manifestation. So I can manifest anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I have not manifested a soulmate thus far.
Okay.
And I don't think it's impossible. Is going back to your term of strategy. That is hard because I do not. If one more person suggests that I get on online dating, I don't like it. It does not bring me joy. I feel like it is like trying to find a soulmate on Facebook Marketplace. And
Okay.
they're not going to tell you that it has a scratch on the back. They're not going to take a picture of that. They're just taking a
Mm-hmm.
picture. So you have to like, I don't like it. As you can see, my voice is heightened. I am
Oh
triggered in
yeah,
a
you triggered. You
house.
are triggered
Yeah.
for a
Okay.
reason.
Can you
I'm not,
calm your neck
okay?
down a little bit? Cause you like.
I
I
know
feel like
because
I
I
did
hate
something.
it. No, I hate online dating. It
Don't
is
worry about it,
not.
Rob. I got it, Rob. Don't even worry about
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
I got it. Don't
Let's
even
go.
worry about it. So let's talk about that, right?
Okay.
So number one, I would have to understand why you're triggered by online dating.
I've had very horrible experiences on
Okay.
online dating. I have
So
met okay, I've met bad people in real life, and I shouldn't say bad, like people that were not ready, so that are not mentally stable, emotionally stable, um, goal
so,
oriented.
so here's my question: where you gonna meet people?
Right now, nowhere, because I mean we're in a pandemic and we're masked up, and no one's really going anywhere. So that the only place I feel like is online, but I don't like it.
But so here's what I tell a lot of my clients that come to me the same way you come to me. It
Hmm.
ain't designed. You don't have to like it. But if you have a goal that you're trying to reach, I don't like working out,
Okay.
right? But if I want to lose weight, I'm gonna have to go work out,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it ain't really that you gotta like it, but what you can do is find ways to make it more enjoyable. Like for example, I can, do a certain type of class that I can burn calories in versus going to lift weights. That might be more enjoyable for me. You see what I
Right.
mean? You got to
Right.
think about online dating as how do I expand my circle, my social circle? That's
Okay.
all it is, right? And you got to have some strategy that stops you from getting burnt out. And the
Okay.
reason you get burnt out is because you consistently find what you don't want, right? Or you entertain what you don't want, and it takes you a while to figure out that you didn't want it. A lot of times that starts with knowing what you want from the beginning, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, understand this: people are going to be people no matter where you meet them, right? They're going to
Hmm.
be people no matter where you meet them. So if you cut off online dating in the middle of a pandemic, where are you leaving yourself with? Where you
Not
leaving? You said you
much
said
of
my
anything.
you said my goal is to find a soulmate. My goal is to find a soulmate, but I don't want to find a soulmate in the places where people are during a pandemic. How does that work?
Good point.
It
I'm
makes
still
sense.
here. Yes.
So okay, so let's let's talk about that even more, right? So do you know, like, so you might be talking about dating sites, right? That's what you talking
Right.
about.
Yes.
So do you know the biggest dating site in the world right now is Instagram?
Yes. My friend literally came over here the other day and said that we were going to find me someone on
Are
Instagram.
are
And
you on Instagram?
I am on
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, she's
All
on
right, so
there.
so so all the fellas that's looking for a nice woman,
What?
make sure you follow her on Instagram. That's the first thing. But number two, like you know what's so cool about the internet is that if you meet a guy in the grocery store, right, you have no data on him whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
All you know is that he walked up to you, he said hello, asked for your number, right? All you know is he looked a certain way. You
Mm-hmm.
can literally go on the internet and find and have a whole idea of a person
Mm-hmm.
before you ever entertain them. That's
Now
way
that is the pro to online dating. Like
Yes,
you
bro.
weed through it faster. Whereas in the grocery store, it takes you a couple of conversations to realize something's not right here. But usually within online dating, it's a faster turnover because you get a profile, you get an idea of how their thought process to even fill out an application. You're getting like what they think
You
are
got a whole
attractive
resume.
pictures, and I'm not talking about attractive meaning in actual looks, but in the pose that you took the picture or whatever you feel.
Yeah,
It gives you a lot of understanding about people.
absolutely.
So
Y'all know what dating is? You know what dating is? If you define dating at its core, it's collecting data.
Facts.
That's what dating is. So you are literally collecting data about people to decide if they're a good fit for you. That's what you're doing.
right,
And so if you look at it that way, you stop looking at it as like some big challenge, right? Then you won't be as frustrated. Now, I always encourage my clients to take breaks. Like if you starting to meet a bad guy after bad guy or bad girl after bad girl, then take a break. Take a couple weeks off from it and then go back to it. But you can't say online dating or meeting people online is bad when the data proves something totally different. The data says that people are meeting faster online than anywhere else.
right.
So are you going to be the exception to the rule because you don't like it, quote unquote, or are you going to find a better dating strategy? That becomes the question. And so what happens is if you have a better dating GPS, meaning you know what you want, then you can weed people out faster, right? And so that means that you're frustrated less. You see what I mean? The problem
Mm-hmm.
is you probably got really high expectations of the people you meet, right? And then they disappoint you, and now you're upset.
Well, I'm known because I'm detail oriented.
She
It is a
said
part of because there's some truth to it. I'm honest. I said I was gonna be transparent.
Uh-huh.
There is a level of truth to it, but I don't think my level of truth stems from bitterness or from like a negative energy. Like as previously. Like I
Yeah,
think women, men, you go through it, which was your first question to Rob about. I'm assuming that you've done the healing. There's a
yeah.
lot of people that have not healed, and so I feel like I've gone. That's not where my expectation lies. It's just that, yeah, you're not cutting it.
I I want to know what that feels like because I want to say I feel like I'm the opposite. Like
Mhm.
I get a first impression, I get a feel for you via conversation. I'm like, oh, let's just hang out and see what the fuck this goes. I really don't, cause some eventually, no matter who it is, they're gonna disappoint you. But I'm just like, I'm more so focused on who are you and what type of qualities do you have. Like I want to get to who you really are. I want to get past the representative and all that
Yes.
stuff. I really like. I'm not gonna say I don't have expectations, but they're not really high, and it gives me a clearer view because it's like I can't really have expectations because you don't know me. You don't know how to interact with me yet. So it's
Yes.
like you're not gonna be able to really treat me well because you don't even know what that looks like to me. Like you don't even know what makes me operate, what makes me tick. Which is why at times I've dated people. My friends are like, "Why'd you ever?" And I'm like, "Yo, like I give things a chance or a try. I can't look at this person and automatically say, nah, you ain't it,' because I don't know."
Mhm.
I agree with you there, Rob.
But that's just me.
And my personality test, I took a personality test and it said my openness was 100%. So I'm 100% open, which
Mm-hmm.
when I looked at the things that I've navigated to in life, just in general, like I'll do the things that most of my friends are like, how did you find that? How did you even end up there in that store to like know that this was going to be a thing? Because I'm so open.
Mhm.
But with people, I feel like there is this like there's a I have my energy and instinctively I know not I might not know if you're right, but I know no, we can't even start at the baseline because
It's called intuition, right?
it is intuition and there's like more recently a guy he asked for my number, I gave him my number, we
Excuse me.
talked. What? He didn't even rise to the level of discussion because it was so crazy. Like day one, he only saw me for 45 seconds.
Mhm.
He asked for my number. I gave him my card because the situation, he interrupted the service, him and his friend. So I was like, I'm with the client, but here's my card. You can contact. Fast forward, he contacted me But that first phone call was so heavy, like it was forced, it was heavy, and it was what the Lord said to him, what he like he's happy. So me being, what did he say? I'm happy and I want you to be happy. And if we go out on a date and you like, it was like so much inflated like narrative that it was nothing about, hey, I saw you and I just really wanted to talk to you. It wasn't everyday life living. I felt like it was very exaggerated, very in a different mental space. And I could tell instantly, and I was right because there was a series. I mean, he just text and text and text and text and text and text and text.
With no response.
And it was all on one side of the screen. And eventually he was like, I'm gonna, what did he say? I'm going to just go. I think it's best we go our separate ways. And I said, I think that is best. And then that's how.
But that's gonna happen though. I mean, that's just. I mean, in the dating
that's
scene,
a little
that's
to me
happen.
extreme in 45 seconds of conversation.
But if you met him online, it would have been the same thing. So it's like you're gonna run into people. Like I think it goes back to your expectation level is that you have this narrative in your head how it's gonna play out with the person you meet. You don't want to have to go through a bunch of people to figure it out. I get that, but you're gonna have to.
But I don't feel like I have to do that with people. And I don't really have a different expectation. And I said soulmate, but that's not even my initial outlook when I'm meeting people.
You said soulmate.
I did say soulmate, so I want to go on the record and say I'm looking, and I told Rob this, I want partnership. When it comes to a relationship, I want a partner, a life partner, somebody I can build businesses with, live life with, travel with. So
okay,
all of that.
I'm about to interrupt you. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's why.
I feel like this was a Jedi mind trick because we're supposed to be talking about Rob.
Oh, we're gonna get back to Rob.
This is part 2 for me. Remember that.
Right. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. You have to question yourself when it comes to strategy. Where are you looking for people? So beyond just online dating, right? Are you finding people in spaces that share your values? Right? Are you meeting people? So you say you want somebody you can build businesses with. All right. Are you going to business conferences? Are you going to are you in entrepreneurship groups? Are you in, where are the places that you're meeting people that have like-mindedness like you? And then are you making yourself available in those spaces? That becomes the other question. Like, you can't just be in the space like I'm here. Right.
You have to engage.
So you got to engage. So like Clubhouse is a very good place where you can meet people. See, your face. I'm tired.
No, I'm only saying that I'm not on Clubhouse.
She'll be on there soon. I'm gonna leave you alone.
I can get it on my iPad, so I'm gonna get it on my iPad and I'm gonna join Clubhouse.
So, but here's the thing: you got to be strategic about, if you at least take some of the guesswork out. If you meet people in places that you have shared interest in, you take some of the guesswork out. And so, even in those spaces, you're still gonna meet some people that you don't click with. That's okay.
I think
at least you start.
That's a great start because it is going back to the whole premise of I think my approach is I have looked at this as if that won't happen in real life, because you do meet people that annoy you. Like I met that guy in real life and not online. So I'm gonna readdress it from that angle, because I really feel like it's pointless to log into an app to do that.
No, it's not pointless. But if you find it better to do it other places, then go for it. Now watch this, Rob.
Huh?
Do you have trouble meeting women online?
No. And I don't use dating apps. I use Facebook, and I'm just in singles groups.
What do you think the biggest difference is? You're in places, okay, you're in singles groups. You're in places where people are looking for you, right? But it makes it easier if you're in a group doing those kind of things. So my point, Jessica, is he's looking at it like, I don't have a problem doing this, but you're looking at it like it's a task.
It is. That's what it feels like emotionally. It feels like a task, and that's when
it feels like that. You take your break. That's when you take your break. Right? Okay. You take your break, you re-energize, and then you go back to the game.
I'm gonna tell you this. Jessica.
What?
You should find a singles group for your area because I'm in the DMV. I'm in Virginia now. I don't know if I told you that, Troy, but I'm in the DMV singles group. So they're all in this area, and there's thousands of people in there, and I get to see posts. I get to post. People comment. I get to have interactions with them before I really interact with them. And I met a really good friend on there. Like, I was trying to flirt, but we ended up being friends, which is cool, which is fine. She's awesome. But I met a really good person. So I'm like, oh, they do exist. You know what I'm saying? So I float in a couple of those groups, actually. So, and it's much more manageable. It's more real, too, because, like, I can see it. Like, it's not a made-up dating profile. Like, you have a Facebook. I can see your pictures, your mama, your cousin. So kind of like what Troy was saying, I get to see a bit more.
Yep. I'm open to that.
And even when you're on a dating profile, you can tell a lot about a person by how much effort they put into it. Right?
Right.
You can tell a lot about a person on that. Now,
that's Jessica, my whole point.
but Jessica, here's the thing. What if I told you? You're not gonna like this. But what if I told you that the women that have the most success online dating are the women who approach first? What if I told you that?
I got to interject. Every relationship I've been in, they approached me first. Even the person I just told you about, that's my friend, she DM'd me.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why? Tell me why. I got her doing a whole coaching session on here.
Yeah. I feel like it.
I didn't know she needed it. I came here for me.
Discovery or anything. I want out.
No.
I don't like it because I feel like, in my personal experience, I have been a person to pursue, and
nope, wrong word. Let me interrupt you. You use the word pursue.
What's the difference?
Approaching is not pursuing.
Well, okay. What's the difference? Help me.
The difference is if I approach, it's essentially I am making my interest known. Pursuing means I'm now following you on the path, right?
Oh, gotcha.
I'm now trying to get you to talk to me, kind of stuff. Approaching is not pursuing, and I think a lot of women look at it that way, which is why it's so intimidating, right? Or not even intimidating. It's like that's why they don't like it as much because they think, oh, I ain't chasing no man. I'm like, I'm not asking you to chase nobody. What I'm asking you to do is make yourself available and show your interest. Yes. Because guess what? Think about it from the other side, from men, right? Men have been taught to essentially get rejected over and over and over again and keep going, right? We've been taught that. We've been doing that our whole life. We don't like it though. We hate it, but we still do it because we've been taught that is what we got to do to get women, right? So if you separate yourself, right, in the pool of women, you separate yourself by actually meeting him halfway, where now at least he knows his chance of an outcome is way better than I got to just randomly, approach you and I might get my feelings hurt or I might get ignored or whatever. I'm more likely to be like, you know what? I like her. She takes some initiative. You know what I mean? That's way sexier to me than the one that just sits back and says nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, I want to clarify something. Once you approach, that now you can get back into your feminine energy and receive.
Right, and that's where I like to rest there.
Well, you can rest there, but you gotta have the opportunity.
Wait.
You gotta have the opportunity to rest.
Let me correct that because I realize this is going out into the world. So no, I'm not just like I take care of me. When I say receive, I'm not looking for a handout. I'm not looking for anybody to take care of me. I just mean I would like to feel like a woman and feel pursued. That's where the term pursue, I think, would be more fitting. So I don't mind approaching someone, but
if
I want to fight for your attention. I'm a woman.
If he likes you, if he's into you, you won't have to do that.
All right.
But here's the deal though. Here's the deal. Here's the gig. He might not be that into you. And you got to be okay with that. And see, that's why most women don't want to do this because they can't handle someone not being into them.
Yeah.
Right? Ego wise. Go ahead, Rob.
This is and this is why I like it actually. And actually I've pursued as well. And I noticed that I've approached and pursued. And I've noticed I feel like men tend to be a bit more direct. I mean, obviously it varies person to person, but like I'm very direct, and I know that a majority of the women that I've tried to talk to, they want to play these games and they want to try to do all this filling out. And it takes me a while to figure out if you are even really interested. I mean, other than you replying to me, that don't mean you interested. But you saying, hey, I noticed your profile picture and I thought you were handsome. I just wanted to let you know. That's a clear indicator. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
So that removes a layer of BS for me already. So I can already get to, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about how do I need to approach you? How do I, cause like, I'm just gonna be honest. Some women in this group, like I used, like, you have to be so strategic in just what you say, how you say it, because everyone is offended by so many different things. Like I said something about, I used the word exotic, and one woman was like, I'm not an animal from the southern countries. And other women was like, I don't see a problem with that. Like, and I'm just like, y'all complicated to the mug.
Well, that's a kind of a good point. Go ahead.
But
I'm sorry.
But I don't know. It just eliminates a lot of stuff. And it ain't even like, yo, what's going on, Big Daddy? It could just be a simple, hey, hope you're having a good morning. That's an approach.
I hear you. I feel like men and women, when are we gonna align and be men and women?
we are aligned though. See, if you can rest in your.
I don't feel like it's
okay.
aligned.
So listen.
I feel like I keep the people that the conversations in my experience is not aligned. And then when I talk to Rob, I'm like, well, who are you talking to? Like, why are the people that are on the same path? It's like we're in different circles. Like, and it becomes this mating game of hello. Like, when is mating season? What do I have to do? Throw my elbow up? Like, I need.
But you're not in the spaces. Like, you got to get in the right spaces. That's all it is. You get in the right spaces, and then you do these strategic things. Then now you increase your chances of success. That's really what it comes down to. You got to think, unless you're in college, right? College is the ultimate mating ground because you got a bunch of people in one area that have the same kind of values, essentially, right, at the core of it all. They're in there for a reason. Once you got out of college, you go and you live a whole separate life, and you outside of work, in the gym, how much community do you have?
Right.
You got a few different communities, unless you're in like a organization or something like that. But ultimately, you got to create your own communities.
Right.
And so once you're in those communities, now all of a sudden you got to make yourself approachable. You got to.
And mine consists of mostly women.
And see, that's another issue.
Right. When I look at it now, I would say all of my external, even within work and outside of work, it is with women.
So there you go. So now you got, your chances of meeting people are so low. So you got to do online. And if you don't do that, you got really low chances of meeting people. So you got to be very strategic about where you spend your time. The other piece of this too is, who are you letting know that you are looking, right? Who are the people that you trying to get the hookup from?
I've been on the market for a long time now.
But
it
who
should
are
be
you?
well known. I feel
No,
like.
See, you said something. And that's a woman trait right there. You said it should be well known.
Okay.
No. That's totally different than talking to someone and say, you know what, I'm really looking for someone that I can build some partnership with. If you know someone that's single, would you introduce me? That's a whole different thing than I'm just single, so somebody should hook me up.
This is true. Now you're really hitting on some buttons today, because I realized that I have probably taken a very passive route to this thing.
Passive, right? And you're not strategic and intentional about what you're trying to do.
Right. I'm intentional about every other aspect of my life, which is what I told you, Rob. I said, why is it that I'm the most intentional person, yet this one area, like...
You know why? Because you've been told to sit back and wait. That's what you've been taught your whole life, that women just sit back, cross their legs. And that is true when you're in your feminine energy, but you got to already be in the space. You see what I'm saying?
And because I don't really feel like I think I'm very focused, but maybe I'm confusing my ability to be vocal with, I'm also sitting back and waiting.
You in Dallas. You in one of the biggest cities in America, and you talking about you can't meet nobody.
Well, it's like going back to culture, though. Even in Dallas, like I feel like when I go to DC, DC is popping.
So
Like,
are you okay? Are you open to long distance? Are you open to relocating? Are you
I
open
am
to
open to I am open to that, both of those.
well?
Um,
So why you ain't trying to meet people in those places?
mm.
You see what I'm saying? It's all strategy. This is why I do what I do, right? Because
It is strategy. I just need to take all my business skills to dating.
ding, 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 ding. It's marketing. Is what it
Right.
is.
I just figured.
It's it's it's
2 weeks.
it's all marketing. You are a product, right?
True.
Okay.
I hate to say it like that. It sounds bad, right? But
Say less.
essentially,
Follow me on
essentially you are a
Instagram.
product.
My whole campaign is coming out in 2 weeks at Exposure.
Well, there you go. Well, see, I guarantee you one thing: it's plenty of people meeting people every day. That's how I
Yes.
know that to be true. I
That's true.
know that to be true. You want to know how I know that to be true? Because people having a lot of sex, a lot of babies being born, people meeting people. So if that's the case, why you ain't meeting nobody? It's like if you got a product, people sell products every day. How come your product ain't being bought?
Right.
So anyway, Rob, where you at?
Huh?
Yeah, you done moved on from me.
Yeah,
Told
you
her.
see
Let
that?
me go
Yeah,
get me another one.
Rob trying to hide in the conversation now. You know
I'm
what I
not.
mean?
I'm dating already,
Whole
so I
conversation
mean,
was because of you.
I'm
So,
dating.
so
I
he's
don't have
dating.
a
He said he's
problem
dating.
finding
I love what
because
he said too. Rob said like, I'm dating multiple people.
I do believe in that,
I absolutely believe in it.
and
but
here's
you have to get one to get to multiple. I think that women and men should date openly, date until you meet someone that gives you enough attention. Not gives you attention. I'm choosing my words wisely here, but someone that attracts you in a capacity where it's like, I don't want to really date these people. I like you. That's when you
Yeah.
should start trimming your dating down. But until that, if you're getting to know people,
yeah, and
I don't
Absolutely.
I'm
think it's
taking
wrong
my
with that.
time too, much like what Troy said. Like you gotta, and here's the other thing too. Like when it comes to, man, you said something that I say in these groups all the time. When I see women and men complaining about not finding good people, I'm like, where are you looking? Are you in places that are conducive to your life that align with what you're doing? Like me, I'm in gaming groups, I'm in podcast groups, I'm in DJ groups, I'm in exercise groups, I'm in entrepreneur. I'm in so many groups that I already know I got something in common with you already because we're in this space together. So
But
it's
how do you keep up with these groups?
I don't have to. It's
Right.
passive. I scroll on Facebook for 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe somebody posts something in the group that catches my eye. I'll click. I'll look through some of the comments. I might see a young lady and say, "Huh, I like what she said there," and then I'll reply to her or something like that. Like it's very passive. It's not like a dating app that's
Gotcha.
blowing my phone up and now, oh, this is a date. Oh my gosh, let me see who. Like, no, it's like I'm not even honestly looking for it, but it's cool
Gotcha.
because one, I know it's something that I'm already interested in because it's based off of what the group is about, and then two, let me just take a look at it. But I'm not. I gotta watch what I say.
Right.
I'm not trying to have 15
you
women
had
that I'm
so
dating.
much to say.
Huh?
Say it again.
I said I'm not trying to date like 15 women though. So you know what I'm saying? I'm pacing myself. The friend of a friend thing is really good. That's really good because if they really your
can
friend,
be.
they're not gonna hook you up with something bad.
No, they can.
They can, no, I mean they
everybody
can, but if they're really your friend, like when people, I have girls do that to me all the time, right? And I only have a couple people I could highly recommend. That's just true. Because I'm like, no, because I don't want that to affect my friendship. Because I got cussed out at
Exactly.
homecoming like that. No comment, no comment, no comment.
It happens, man. But you know what? He's telling you that there's proof in the pudding, right? And there's some women that are very good daters, and there's some women that are not. What I found is the difference is the mindset and the strategy. That's really what it comes down to: mindset and strategy.
Patience.
I mean, some of it comes down to, physical attractiveness too, right? Let's just be honest. Some of it comes down to how people physically look too. I mean, I get that, but still, there's somebody for everybody. So I mean, if you're like, somebody that's like, extremely beautiful, of course you can always have people coming after you, right?
Yep.
That's just how it go. It is what it is. But you got to be able to cut through all that.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to cut through all that.
Showing
My
all the
marketing
legs on
campaign goes
Instagram.
live in 2 weeks.
Huh? Say that again.
I said my marketing campaign goes live in 2 weeks.
Oh, we gonna watch for it now, Rob. We holding her to it. No,
I'm definitely gonna watch for it.
I want to know how many virtual dates you've been on after 2 weeks.
Okay.
I want to know. So see, we got you
Oh
right.
Lord.
So we gonna see how this goes. But no, I think I love what y'all are talking about though. I mean, Rob, if you talk about like, hey, I got a question for you, Rob. I'm not even interviewing, but I'm asking you anyway. When you meet these women, you're dating multiple women. How are you keeping that like honest? What are you saying? Or are you saying nothing?
I
Good
lie.
boy.
What do you mean? No, I'm
No,
kidding.
you-
Rob, what do you say? What do you say?
Look at
I was
Jessica's
gonna say,
face.
oh my God.
She's about to have a fit about that, boy.
Oh Lord. Why?
I say, right now I'm just dating. I'm having fun. Um, my intention right now is to date to have fun. I'm not necessarily looking for a serious relationship, but if I develop feelings for you, I will let you know. If you develop feelings for me, let me know, because if this is not working, I don't like to play games. I don't want to drag you along. I don't want you to feel like I'm using you. I don't do that to people. And I'm dating multiple people.
Sounds simple enough.
That's what I tell everybody.
But
And
you know what he's doing? You're giving people the choice.
that's exactly, because I've been in a position where I wasn't given a choice. You just decided to go
Right.
do what you wanted to do, and I don't like that. And a lot, I talk about this in some of my
Nobody likes
clubhouse
that.
rooms, and they don't believe me. You don't really do that, and they okay with that? And I'm like, yeah, because they know they don't have to guess. They know up front, okay, he's not looking for a relationship, so there's a chance that this might not work, but he might like me, and there may be a relationship. Also know that if he's not with me, there's a possibility he's talking to or dating other women. But I know this day one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not when he's with me and I see a text and it says Keisha. You know, day one. He's also opened the door for. I also opened the door for communication. Hey, when this is not working for you, or you feel like you want to do a temperature check and ask me how I'm feeling or whatnot, fine. If we're doing certain things and you're like, without a commitment, I don't want to do these things, let me know. That's fine. Like, I enjoy the company of women, period. So hanging with you, little cuddles, a couple other things, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? But I know where I am mentally, and I know that a relationship takes work, and it's going to take someone super duper special to really pull me out of this space and really get me to look at her and say, ooh, I need to put some things down and maybe adjust for her. But I'm just deep into that space right now. So all I can do is just be honest. I mean, it makes things
That's all you
easier
can
for
do.
me.
Honesty is so
So
appreciated.
how would you take it, Jessica, if a man said that to you?
I am, for me, honesty I can accept over everything. I don't care what it is, be honest about it. Because that puts you in a position of power to, like you said, to choose. Like to choose what you're accepting into your space versus to now be blindsided later when you didn't know these things. And a lot of times it comes from cowardly perspectives to me. Like people choose for you because they
Yep.
think you're going to respond a certain way. They think you're
Yep.
going to feel something, and it's
Yep.
it's really not fair to me to be able to say no. I really didn't care, or I'm glad that you told me because that is something that would bother me. Like I think transparency, you can't be mad at the truth. I
But
mean,
see,
you
but
can
I'm,
choose
I'm,
to.
I'm gonna argue with you on this though. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I have a lot of clients who will say they're okay with honesty, but they hear what they want to hear, right? So they
Right,
say, "Be honest with me. Be honest with me," and a guy's honest with them, and then they respond terribly because of it. Or what they do is they hear what they wanted to believe to be true. So he says, "I'm not looking for a relationship." She says, "Oh, but he was acting like he wanted to be in a relationship." No, but he
hmm,
said, "I don't want to be in a relationship." So now you have this awkward moment. You have this
right,
awkward what are
Mm.
we conversation. You have this, well, you act like you call me all the time. You do this, yeah, but I told you I didn't want to be in a relationship. So here's my advice to women all the time: is when someone says it, believe it.
right. And
I
that's
don't
what I
even
was going to say. Most people that I find when you're not okay with the truth, it's because you haven't done the work on that. And you haven't really identified that pocket within yourself. Because once you get to that space of, all right, like this is what it is. They did tell me this. Like you come to a self-reckoning, but people want to believe the narrative that they want to. Even when I think back in my more naive self, like when I was younger and things that I believed, because I have been that woman at one point in time of thinking like, well, these actions equate to emotion. Everybody, as an empath, I know that I feel on a different level than most people feel on, and so just because we can do action, we can like perform an action, but that doesn't equate to the emotion. So many people numb their emotions, so they'll
Facts.
do all of these things, and if you associate the things with how they feel about you, then you're automatically screwed because that's not what that means. They just did the thing. Maybe that's what they just, their mother or their father did that. They saw that it was demonstrated. So in their world, they're thinking that that's just what you do. It doesn't have anything to do with the emotional connection that you have now caused it to mean.
And
So
and that's why I try to be like, me being even more transparent. One of the people I'm dating, I stopped doing some things with her because I realized I'm like, this is too much. Um, these some of these things are a bit too intimate, and I don't want to send mixed signals either. Because of what you just said, I don't think there's anything wrong with what you just said. I think we're human beings, and when someone makes you feel good, it's good. You're gonna have a feeling. You're gonna feel something.
Get that dopamine.
Yeah, you're gonna feel about it. So I'm like, all right, I need to, and I had a conversation about it, and I'm like, look, I don't just want to stop. Like, here's 1, 2, 3, why? Because I had a conversation last night, and they were like, well, you can't be making people. You're doing all the stuff as if you're in a relationship type deal. And I'm like, that makes sense. But I don't typically do that. Like, my communication is limited. How often I see you is limited and stuff like that. I'm pacing myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm pacing myself. And again, this is why I open the door for communication about how you're feeling. Because if we're doing these intimate things, then I need to be mindful of how you're feeling. Because I don't want you to feel like I feel the same way based off an action.
Yeah. I tell men that all the time. You know how mature that is, though. As a man, men have to be more mature in that. Sometimes we can see and we identify that the woman is thinking it's more than what it is.
Yes.
And so in those moments, we have to do what you did and say, you know what? Let me pull back because I'm setting you up for failure.
Yeah.
Right? I'm setting you up for failure.
yes, and that maturity that you mentioned, I actually had a conversation with the guy, and his response was, well, who's going to be okay with that? Nobody want, and it's like he's already determined that all the women in the world are not going to be able to take this. So I feel like it is definitely a maturity thing, but how do you come, I guess, how do you navigate that? Because so many people right now, I feel like, are trying to be in relationships or achieve something within an existing relationship, and people come with so much baggage and traumas and immaturity, which I personally think, when I look at that person in particular, for example, how they were raised. So you have a mother figure that, I don't want to say babied you, but nurtured you to uh, and beyond. And
Who's a
so,
mama's boy?
right. And so, therefore, you have that, which is fine and understandable that there are these connections within our communities, but not having the maturity to know that in a relationship that's different, and that your partner is not your mother, and that the way that you can't talk to your mom because you don't want to hurt your mom's feelings, or I can't tell my mom I'm not coming home for Christmas. That same level, I think, of maturity that they would not have there, it now is mimicked in relationships in what a woman can or cannot handle. And I feel like that is like a big disconnect. And most guys don't want to deal with it. So instead of like,
you don't want to see y'all cry.
right, and they've been conditioned to just like, no, I ain't gonna say it. I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not, and it's like a shrink, but it doesn't do anybody any good in the relationship.
And there's the other caveat of mofos be lying. So
Very true.
that's a strong indicator. people typically lie to get what they want, and they know once the truth comes out, or once you, like, when I say what I say, like those things, I typically think in my head she's going to be done. And I thought it was done after we had one of our conversations, and she was like, no, she was like, I appreciate you being honest. I've managed my feelings. So I
She's
was
in
like,
control of her feelings.
because here's my thing. Like you say, how do you navigate it, Jessica? You don't know until you're in it. This is new for me too. Like, this is the first time in my life I have dated like this. But I've always been honest and transparent, even when it was with one person. But I'm like, yo, because there's so many things involved. There's emotions involved. If we're having sex, there's health involved. So it's like, I'm too old to be playing these games and all that. Like, I'm like, yo, man, if you're gonna be in my space, you need to be valuable too. So it's like, I don't even want you in my space if the energy ain't right. And I ain't trying to be. I don't ever want to be a bad memory or a regret. So
I like that. That starts with honesty. So, nah, Jessica, I get what you're saying. Like, some people are not mature enough to handle the conversations. Some people aren't mature enough to have the conversations.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to me, that means I think you have to be able to sniff this stuff out early in people, right? By asking very inquisitive questions, right? Instead of just like, what's your favorite color? You know, we got to start getting deeper with people and having, but I always tell people, you can have deep conversations that are still very casual.
Right.
You see what I mean? Like, too many of us have like these interview questions. But if you're having good conversation with people and you're a good question asker, people will tell you everything you want to know. You ask them about how they grew up. You ask them about, what are the things that they loved about their mom? What are the things that they wish was different? You start asking these different questions. Who are the most important people in your life? Why are they so important to you? What are the things you're passionate about? What are the things that you're fearful of? These are like really good questions, that really can dig deeper into a person so we can get to the authentic person.
Right.
So, why people get frustrated in dating is because they put all this effort into someone, for 3 months or whatever it is. Then they realize the person is not they're not who they thought they were. Yeah. But no, this is good conversation. I think people need to have these honest conversations. I mean, to me, what I love about it is you talk about doing the work first, and then if you do the work, it allows you to be comfortable in your space, so that you can have honest conversations, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I was dating now, I would. I mean, I'm married, but man, if I was dating now, I would be just like Rob. I would just be like, here's where I am. Let's have open dialogue and conversation. I want to be as transparent as I can with you. And then if I start identifying that it's not working, then I need to cut it off. I need to remove myself from the situation.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, though, Jessica. People wait on other people to remove them from the situation. Meaning, instead of you seeing what you know you don't want, instead of removing yourself from it, women will tell me all the time, they'll be like, why won't he just let me go? Why won't you let yourself go is the question I have.
Yes, and I know someone is going to probably go back to the text messages, but I told this gentleman, this was a person that approached me, asked me, was I single? I said yes. I said, here's my card, all in this 45-second conversation. So when we first talked on the phone the very first time, I asked, well, you asked me, was I single? But, because of life experiences, I now have to make sure I ask that question back, because it does not count if they ask you. That's like 19-year-old, 20-year-old Jessica. Yep. Now I'm like, well, are you single? Well, he was actually married, going through a divorce, separated. I said, well, I would like to let you know that I'm not interested in you until based on your current marital status. Exactly. And he followed back up a couple of times, and I texted him and I said, I know when we spoke, I want you to know that I seriously meant I do not want to engage with you based on your current marital status. Like, I don't care that you're going through a divorce and separated. No, I don't want that energy. I don't want none of that. I don't want the process. I don't want the baggage. I don't want to hear about divorce court. I don't want to hear about none of that. I want you to come to me when you
about
are
him going back. You don't want to hear him about him going back.
I don't want the backtrack. I don't want the process of, like, because it's very toxic, because you haven't, going back to your first question to Rob, if you're talking to me in this overlapping and you're currently in a relationship, married, whether you're separated and there is no going back to your spouse, you haven't done the healing work. So you're not my person right now anyway, unless there's like I don't see it. Like God's gonna have to really talk to me now. Like, and that overlapping, you haven't done any work. You're just now transitioning. It's like sending the files all over here to me, and I don't want them. So I made it very clear in that first message that when he texts back that I was not interested, and that was my stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he continues to text. And a lot of my friends were like, you can block him, but I'm not a blocker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I'm not a real big blocker.
You should become one. But go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, and that's another. I'm
that's
not. I don't like blocking.
You don't. But see,
I
you
feel
don't.
like
You don't owe the person anything.
this is true, and I don't know where this comes from, but I'm really not a blocker.
You don't
Like,
owe them access. You don't owe. See, think about it. Back in the day, you wouldn't have blocked. You just wouldn't answer the phone, right?
Right, and I stopped answering his messages. So that's why I mean it was message, 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 message on one side of the screen. And it wasn't until like, okay, dude, like when are you gonna get it? I already told you I don't want to engage with you. So like now to me, I've been very clear. There is clarity, and you're not getting it.
Block. You should have blocked him right after you finished.
I probably should have blocked him. He was deserving of a block. I'm just not. I don't know. I don't know. I don't block people, and I've heard that a lot. Like, why don't you block people?
You corny. You need to block people.
I mean,
I haven't had to block many, but yeah, because I don't need that around. I don't want that energy. Bye. Okay, clearly you don't have respect for my boundaries.
Boundaries.
Bye.
There's a key word.
Right.
You gave him the boundaries.
I did all of that.
But you know what's different about what Jessica did than a lot of people I know is you gave an answer, right, and then you followed up with it again. Right? A lot of women was like the reason he kept trying was because women say that all the time. They say in the beginning all the time, "I ain't dealing with this. I ain't dealing with that." Right. Da, da, da. Next thing you know, you sleeping with her. Like so, this is why the man. That's why we continue. We've been conditioned to hear it like that, right? We've been conditioned to hear that.
He's gonna text you 3 more times. I said no. Yeah. He actually said, "Okay, sounds good." After I sent that message, and then I hit enter to my cousin, and I promise you, it must have pinged to him because 2 more messages came in, and I screenshot. I was like, "I guess you're right."
Look, we don't know it's real till we no longer have access. Most times, most times it's like you gotta just remove access from us. Because we've been taught about that challenge and that like a mature man, a man that is of high value, you know, he's not gonna sit there and chase you all day about that, right? He's gonna be like, okay, I get it. The woman said what she said, I believe her, and that's it. Now might play cat and mouse for 5-10 minutes, but ain't nobody playing cat and mouse if I'm of high value and I'm busy and stuff like that. But some people, they ain't got nothing to do with it. Keep trying you. It's almost like, what's that word? Well, it's not the word, but what's the like think about hitting ice, right? Just tapping it until it breaks. A lot of people will do that. A lot of men will do that to see, you know, you ever get text, Jessica, from like an ex that just hit you with that kind of, hey, big head, you know, kind of stuff, because he think you still might have a chance.
Yo, I needed you the other night on Clubhouse. Off subject, I was talking about handling disrespect, and my homie I was talking to, I was like, sometimes it's better when the man, like if a guy steps to you, like let's say your work husband steps to you incorrect and you say you handle it. I'm like, it hits different when your man comes up to him and handle it. It don't have to be violent. I said it's different. I said it's different for men because you might not be the be all end all, and it's not about you. Like it's not that I don't think that you can handle it, but the message comes across very differently. Just like if I try to turn a woman down, it hits different if my girl comes there and says, "Yo, don't step to my man." It hits. Yes. She just would not get it. I'm like, "Yo, you don't understand. It sends such a different message." And it's like you ain't even gotta come up to the dude like you about to fight him or nothing. But when he see man to man, it's like, all right, hold up.
It changed the game.
Yeah, because like you said, like they're so used to being rejected, but the next, 2 weeks later, hi, good morning, you just let them back in. You wasn't trying to, you just being nice, but that mindset. But yeah. Whew. Okay, Jessica, we psychoanalyze you. I know you have to skedaddle. Yeah, you meet somebody tonight.
Yeah, marketing campaign.
That's your challenge.
tonight at 10?
People up all night, all times of night.
You said
All
tonight
right.
at 10.
We're
Ain't y'all
gonna
going?
meet
Hey, all you got to do is get into that feminine energy, right? That space.
Hey, and I'm not a prude. That's what I tell my friends. I
Hey,
think
yo.
people think I'm a prude because I have. I'm not a prude. I am like I got 100 on openness, people. I
Okay.
think very open, like
Or,
to
or,
like
or put off
experiences.
them vibes, put them vibes
Yes,
off.
I give. I'm a whole
Wink at a
vibe
couple people.
energy. I want to experience. We talked about this in the last episode. However,
Oh, God.
like there is a baseline. Like there's a baseline. I tell my friends like I don't have time for foolishness. So why
What?
would I?
But see, here's the thing. The when you say that, like just saying that puts you in a masculine space, right?
Okay.
Because now what you're doing is your vibe is I ain't got time to put up with nothing.
Okay.
Ver-
Okay.
versus being in a very allowing space that
Open.
says I'm open to everything. Now you can still have boundaries and be open.
You right.
Get
All
out.
right. I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be more open. I feel like part of this comes from my what, Rob?
I love this.
No, I'm loving it too because I love the conversation and this is good dialogue and I'm willing to be like throw myself out there at the expense because I know that there's a lot of women and men that are just lost and I am
You
here
better go. You better go watch my video too on IG about
the
qualities
seven
that men.
tips,
Yeah, that men
seven tips.
loving. Yeah, so you need to go
I,
watch it again.
You saw
Watch
it?
it again. Because you know what happens? Because you told me earlier that your group, your circle is a bunch of women. And when all y'all get together and y'all bosses together and all that, and y'all getting y'all bag and all that, all y'all just sitting around in a bunch of masculine energy, right? And then you don't realize that it's just part of you now. They done leaked onto you. All that energy, just now you lead with it and don't even know you leading with it.
I don't. And I think
I'm
you're
not
right.
asking you. I'm not asking you. I need to ask the men that know you. That's who I need to talk to.
Oh, that's a good interview. Maybe we should. I'm scared to bring them on, but I think I'm listening. I'm really trying to stay open here because that's another thing that I do think I agree with you. With women don't listen as much as we are capable of, and I think that comes from trauma, that comes from being bruised. So I do try to like listen and hear. I mean, me and Rob go back and forth all the time on different thought processes. So I'm listening and I'm hearing you, and I see some of my areas of concern, like things that I could missed opportunities, is what I like to call it. Uh, it is just really hard to peel that plastic off when it's you. Like I feel like
Yeah.
we all, if we were a device and you get a device brand new out of the store, you can like punch all the buttons on the device with the plastic on, and you don't know. But like over time, like it starts to come up and it needs to like come off. So I feel like there is a piece of me that is very strong and is very self-sufficient and the things that I feel like guys approach with, they're not what I need.
That's
What
fair.
I need is a little bit different. And I really don't know how to come out of that layer because it's so part of my life. Every day I talk to you, where am I? At my computer, doing something, fixing something, creating something. I live alone. I don't have family here. So all of this is building up to a person that is I think I'm very feminine. However, I give off masculine energy in that because I do so much for myself.
Of
Mm-hmm.
course.
So it's hard to.
Yeah, I get it. But now you're conscious, right? So
I'm conscious of it. I'm
so
here.
if you start being a student of it, listen, I'm starting to be more of a student of masculinity, right? Because if you start being a student of it, start listening to stuff, reading, so you start to realize, like, man, I'm actually better off when I'm in my masculine state. Like it's more natural for me, right? Just like for you, you'll start seeing like you're naturally better feminine. You know what I mean? It's a
I am.
superpower for
I
you, right? I
enjoy it.
always say that you enjoy it more. Like you only forced to do it the other
Yeah.
way.
All
And
right.
so when you start to do it, now you can identify it, and then you
Mhm.
can say, you know what, I'm really sitting in some masculine energy right now. Let me let me sit back and let me allow, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's just a different vibe. Just like as a man, like if I find myself sometimes, and I've done it, where if I'm being like real indecisive or real like not like in taking enough initiative on something or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm in a real not non-masculine space right now. You know what I mean? I need to be assertive in what I'm doing. Let me stop being so passive. You see what I mean? So as long as you're conscious, then you can change it, right? So sometimes I'll be thinking to myself like, oh man, that was a very passive answer to my wife. You know, let me backtrack and let me say, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Here's how I would like this to happen. You see what I mean? So it just changes the energy, and you just gotta be conscious. We all do it. And here's how I want y'all to hear. Both of us have those energies, right? And they just come to light in different places. See what I mean? Like at work, you're gonna have to be in your masculine energy, right? Because it's a doing energy. You see what I mean? Just like man, sometimes I may have to be in my feminine to express myself more to my woman.
Your emotional side is in your feminine energy, like to tap into that and to have what's the word? Empathy. That comes from a more
like it's coming from a different space. You know, so I think we all just got to be conscious. That's really what it comes down to, man. Because at the end of the day, it really turns us on. Like that's why we were created this way. Like femininity turns men on, just like masculinity. I know masculinity turns you on. Tell me I'm lying. You know what women tell me? I don't want no feminine man. That's what they tell me. But then they get mad if you say, I don't want no masculine woman. See, they get mad when I say that. They do. See, she got triggered just now. Look at her.
You gotta take your work clothes off, Jessica.
I think I'm more.
She got triggered just now.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I'm okay. I get triggered when we start grouping, like which you're not doing. Like, but we had this conversation a while back when it's just like all women and all men, and generally speaking, we do have these traits. Like that's just people in general. So I get that, but for me, I'm really like. I didn't know how this episode was going to exactly go. I thought we were going to be talking all about Rob, and Rob Jedi mind tricked me.
You saw how he did. You saw he sat back and ain't say nothing. He just started listening. You saw that, right? He set you up for the okie doke.
I'm further along than you.
All day, he said, I have so many. We're just going to talk about what I have a list of questions. I have all of this stuff that I want to talk about myself. And we didn't talk about Rob.
No, we did. And the thing is, I'm doing what I need to be doing. Like I'm just further along in the process than you are right now. Really, that's what I was really expecting Troy to say a lot more about my situation, but he's just like, hey, so it's uncharted waters for me, but that is confirmation that what I'm doing, one, is okay, which I felt anyway, and two, the way that I'm doing it, I feel like that's the best way to do it, and it works for me. So
yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with your dating process.
You didn't say anything unhealthy. Because otherwise I would have called you out. But you didn't say anything unhealthy.
No, and I feel like I call you out when you tottering. But no.
Okay.
I like it, man. So it sounds like next episode needs to be all about Rob. We're going to start digging into these different dating situations. Because see, Rob, I'm telling you, at some point, you're going to have to get past the, now, I will call you out on this now.
What?
I will call you out on this part. You can't continue the whole, I'm dating, I'm just having fun. I'm not looking for a relationship, but if one happens, now that's a little, that's a little sketch for me.
Okay.
It's a little sketch for me. I'm gonna let you slide on it now because you're newly single. But at some point, it's got to be decisive. Like I'm dating casually, or I'm dating for a relationship. But the whole giving hope that it might turn into something.
Stop saying that. I'm gonna take that part out. I'm gonna take that part out.
You're dating casually.
I'm just gonna have to use open energy instead of giving that verbal cue. I'm gonna do that. I'm dating casually, and then you get. Well, what does that mean? I'm out. I'm done with you.
Yeah,
I'm open to dating.
Yeah, I'm dating, but I'm not looking for a commitment. If you're not looking for a commitment, say you're not looking for a commitment. But don't say there could have one if you're great.
All right, cool.
Because everybody thinks they're great.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're great.
Yuck. I got that. I only got one more question for you. Okay. Give us the exclusive, bruh. I saw you post your computer screen the other day, and it looked like somebody was typing something, and I was zooming in, and I put it in Photoshop and tried to decrypt it, and I'm like, what is this? What does this say? What can you tell us what you are working on?
Yeah, man. I'm working on the next book, dude. It's time. It's time, man. It's beyond time but you know what? I was being hard on myself about like it's taking so long for the next one to come out. But I realized I hadn't lived enough yet. Right? I hadn't been married long enough yet. I hadn't coached enough clients yet. I hadn't seen enough yet to really make the next one what I need it to be. So the next one is going to be more focused on kind of like it's almost like this idea of now I found love. Now what?
Oh.
You see what I mean? Because we can talk about dating all day, but then where people get lost, this is what I've learned: is people get lost once they're in it.
Yes.
All right. And so, how do I help my audience now that's traveled with me? How do I help them navigate now that I'm in it? Okay, I got my relationship goals, my wedding, my picture, and all that. How am I gonna make it healthy? What am I gonna do next?
Don't get comfortable. That's my only that's one piece of advice. I have been through that. I've been in it and I've seen it, and I'm like, yo, when you get that person, you should continuously show them why they made the right decision, and they should be showing you why you made the right decision, or why y'all made the right decision to be together. That's how I feel about it. I feel like things should get better. Like
they should.
Boyfriend Rob is going to be better than dating Rob. Fiance Rob is going to be better than boyfriend Rob. Husband Rob is going to kick all their asses. That's me.
There you go. But a lot of people don't do it. But here's the thing. What people don't understand is this. They don't understand that like relationships, your relationship is either getting better or it's getting worse. It's never standing still.
Ooh, that's scary. Say that again. Say it again.
Your relationship is either getting better or it's getting worse, but it's never standing still. People will think they're comfortable. They'll think like, we're good. But no, odds are it's getting worse and you don't even realize it. So I want to challenge people. Like, I want people to read my book and be like, I need to get my shit together. Like, I want it to be like a mirror to help people have, because my whole goal is like, how do we make relationships last for the long term? You see what I mean? And right now, when you got such a high divorce rate, there's a reason for, even though it's getting better, I'm excited because I think marriages are getting better because people are getting married later. You know what I mean? So it's actually if you look at like higher earners, it's even better. You see what I mean? So there's some like if you look at college graduates, the rates are even better. Like so there's some to this, but people only hear the 50% word. But I want us to be able to navigate these things better. So that's my exclusive for you is that I'm not giving you the title, but it will be. I will tell you this: it will be the trilogy. So you got to remember, it's the third, right? Because the first one was my ebook, teaching me how to love a man's journey toward and through marriage. Then I had this book, so this will be the trilogy. So that's a little hint.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Troy, tell them where they can find you and follow you.
Oh man, find me at xklusivethoughts.com. That's XKLUSIVE thoughts.com. And then if you're on IG, if you're on Instagram, I'm at Xklusive5. That's XKLUSIVE number 5. If you go to my Facebook, it's Xklusive Thoughts. So, but here's the cool thing. If you just go to xklusivethoughts.com, you can find me everywhere.
This all will be in the description. Thank you, my brother, for joining us. Thank you for analyzing Jessica. She needed it and didn't know it. It was not a Jedi mind trick. But thank you so much again. And ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for being so supportive. We love y'all. Make sure you follow Troy. Make sure you cop the book. It is very, very helpful. Very, very helpful.
Thank you, Troy.
Thank you, Jessica.
Very nice meeting you. Thank you for the advice and the free consultation.
Jessica, make sure on Instagram, shoot me a DM because I'm going to be following your marketing plan.
Okay.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, take care of yourselves mentally, physically, financially,
and spiritually.
We'll see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.